Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Inside Innovation. Today, we're going to be speaking with Alan Bouris. Alan, I'll let Alan introduce himself and what his role is within the organization. Alan?
Hi, Chris. Good to talk to you. I run our Global Center of Excellence in Cloud HCM, and we work with customers each and every day to make sure they are hugely successful. So that's where I fit in the organization.
So give me a little bit of background on what the Center of Excellence does. So, how do you engage with customers? When do you get involved with them? And what are some of the services that your team offers?
So it really starts with, we have so many active implementations. It starts with making sure that our partners, our SI partners, have access to all the best content around leading and best practices for implementing our cloud solutions. Then for selected customers, when they need help, specifically, we engage directly through a set of product advisors who are experts in everything from data migration strategies to how to optimize your user experience, to setting up the best model of security for you, or even basic flows. We work with the partners, but we also work directly with the customers on those types of topics to ensure the best implementation possible. Now, for some customers, if they're really large, we will even have a development executive that partners up with that customer for the long haul to make sure that we handle their very complex use cases with a special touch. But it's not really necessary in a lot of cases, but it certainly is in those customers with hundreds of thousands of employees and maybe have 50 countries that they operate in or something like that. But we definitely lean in with those executive sponsors. We also run programs. So we have SOAK program for helping customers to engage with our updates, our quarterly updates, earlier than any of the other customers, and do some real hard regression testing with development partnership. And it's a benefit for them. It's a win for them because they get to test early, and it's a win for us because we get real customers testing the product before we roll it out to all the rest of the customers. So that's an example program. We also do programs for new features like Oracle Digital Assistant, or even features like providing support when the whole customer base moves from one user interface to the new responsive mobile interface, for example. We had a very robust program around that. So lots of hand-holding and lots of really deep engagement around best and leading practices for those customers.
That's great. That's great. And I know you've partnered with pretty much every major customer that has gone live on our system. And it's been a great, two-way where we help them, but we also get a lot of great feedback, not only when they go live, but post go live, about how we can make the product and the service continue to get better. And I think the SOAP program is a great example. So can you give me just a few examples of customers just recently that you've gotten over the line, and just some of the support that you were able to give them, and I can chime in as well, and because I'm with you, and I know what your team does and how some of the great things that you deliver. I know Mount Sinai went live earlier this year, and that was a great one. If you could just give us a few tidbits there, and Securitas, another great one. We're really close with them as a customer and partner. So just a few that have gone over the line recently, just a few tidbits on what your team has done and how you partner. So why don't we start with Mount Sinai?
Sure. Yeah, so great story there. Manhattan Healthcare, right in the middle of the pandemic, they had an April go live for payroll and core HR and some other modules, and they had to pivot their entire workforce to a work from home. And so they were dealing with a massive transition of how they operate as an entity, as well as having to pivot the entire organization to work 24/7 fighting this global pandemic. They made the decision to go over the line and go live in April on payroll and core HR, and our team leaned in to help ensure a successful outcome by working very closely with them on rehearsals of their payroll. We did special around-the-clock monitoring of the system, and we also ensured that some of their very complex pay types, particularly around premium pay, which is for those those health care workers that are in critical situations was able to be accomplished in those first payrolls. And it was wildly successful in terms of getting employees paid in the way that they needed to be paid. And we've heard subsequent comments that some of those types of compensation would have been complicated and difficult to accomplish in the other system. So we're very happy with the result, but we're continuing to optimize as they roll out more and more modules. But a really, really good story, a really difficult time, but it was a really great one.
That's a great story. And as we continue, I know we won't name any of these customers, but I know your team really has the best interest of our customers in mind. Have you ever had to tell a customer they're just not ready to go live and help them replan, and kind of how is that conversation with those customers? Maybe they weren't ready on the payroll side and reconciliation wasn't there. And, we always try to avoid any type of, catastrophe and make sure that we go in eyes wide open. So have you ever had those hard conversations and how do those go?
Yeah. So because we have these really close relationships with our customers, especially those really complex customers, and I know a lot of customers think of themselves very complex because they are. So we have those relationships, and we are involved in really reviewing how they're doing in the program and providing support in all the right places. We had a customer a couple of years ago, this time of year, which is when I'm reviewing how ready all of our January 1 go lives are. And we looked at the data, and the data told us that we were concerned about them going live on payroll. The partner provided the data to us. The customer wanted to go live. I had multiple conversations with my team of experts, with the leadership team at this customer, and we were able to come to a decision that it was best to postpone the go live by a quarter. We did a balanced conversion, and we were able to go live in April with only a 1 quarter delay. And the customer thanked us for it later on. They were happy. But we really, the partnerships we have with these customers, they depend on the transparency and honesty of us sharing that information with them with data, based on data. It's purely based on data. And that's just part of the partnership. We're always going to be transparent and always have their best interest in mind. But it's unfortunate, but it happens every once in a while, and we're always going to speak honestly. So.
That's great. No, absolutely. And do the partnerships last? I mean, I know the answer, and I know the relationships that we have with these customers, but from you, I mean, how do the partnerships go? And not just at our level, but, at the team that's been working with them and in battle with them, getting them over the line and continuously, working with them. Do the partnerships last?
It's amazing. For the past almost 9 years, we've been building this community of cloud HCM. And it's such an informal set of relationships now across all industries. I mean, I know people, and my team knows people in retail and healthcare and security, in financial services and manufacturing. And these customers come together in workshops and groups, and they all know each other. We're seeing mobility between people after being in an organization for 8 years, they moved to another organization, or they moved departments in the same organization. They start implementing a benefits module where they were doing payroll. We're seeing so much engagement with us. It's truly inspiring. I would say that the number of repeats in all of the different ways we engage, customer advisory boards, strategy council, customer workshops, summits, all of the previous in-person events. There's just so many people that know each other. It's in the hundreds and hundreds of people that are common in our story. And these customers love to talk and get on stage and advocate for us and share the successes and share the best practices in so many different forums. So referencing is really one of the key ways that they give back after all that we give to make sure they have a successful outcome.
It's great. I'll answer this one. I'm going to ask you for any parting thoughts. I get asked all the time, usually when we're in the sales cycle, why do you do that? Why does development make this, such a big investment in some of these strategic customers? We have a support organization that's very strong. We have a CSM organization called Customer Success Manager that participates in with a lot of these customers to help them. But why does development get involved? And what do you get out of it? And why is it of value to you? It's a couple things. I mean, Alan talked about the partnerships that last, and really what we get is we see a lot where there's complexity in the implementation or in the project plan or in the payroll reconciliation. And not only have we been through it a lot of times so we can help, we also help guide the partner to make sure that if there's a investment that we've made in our roadmap and they should configure the system to take advantage of something maybe that's coming 6 months, 9 months from them, we can inject so we don't have customers that maybe get upset with us because they could have simplified a configuration knowing what's coming in the roadmap. But we also get feedback on the product and the service and the supportability and the ease of use from a implementation perspective. How easy is it for our product to be implemented? And that's what we take back into the product. So we're great at looking at features that we need to deliver, but a lot of times maybe it's on the operational side or it's on the product support side. We get that great feedback from our Center of Excellence team that helps us make the product easier to implement and easier to support. So it's another great thing. And then referenceability. I mean, these are relationships when you're in battle with these customers, and really all of these large implementations are tough. You're going through a business process transformation, you're moving a lot of data, you're reconciling payroll to a legacy payroll system. All of these are complex things. And when you go through that with somebody, the partnership that you build is just incredible. So we love it. It's a huge program for us. We continue to invest in it. And Alan is a great leader and has a great team and continues to build that great team. So with that, Alan, any parting thoughts for you as the lead of the Center of Excellence team?
I would just say that the biggest inspiration for everyone on my team is the partnerships that we build with what we call our friends and family customers. There's such trusted and genuine relationships around purely, business productivity issues that all entities are facing, and we're able to bring incredible innovation on every 3-month basis to our customers, and these interactions just inspire everybody. So it's a really great time to be in the cloud business for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed another version of Inside Innovation talking about experiences with our HCM cloud. Thank you.